Chapter 6. It was the year of 58. I was in the 5th level of finishing classes. James was right. This was very hard. I spent most of my time studying. Left little time for anything else. Learning music was harder. Learning music was harder than I thought. James had called us all down to the sitting room one day. We all hailed to hear what he had to say. Girls, I and Candace are traveling to Brazil. I'll get it right. Traveling to Brazil. The storm last week has weakened the wall of the kingdom. I need to make a record on the repairs. We will be gone for about 5 weeks. I want you all to behave. Patsy, Tammy, Patty, take care of the others. If you need anything, let Tony know. All right, he had told us. Yes, my master, we had all said. Then that day they left. Little I knew it would be the last time I would see them. I will never forget that day, not in a million centuries, or even millenniums. I was in vocal literature when the announcement came. Patsy Millstone, please report to the receptionist office. I looked about, collected my books, and moved down to the office where I had been called. When I entered, the lady at the desk motioned me into the conductor's office. And so I stepped in. As I did, I saw 3 of the kingdom guards. I looked from the conductor to the guards. Are you Patsy, Dinah of James Millstone, of Cumberland Mills? He asked. Yes, master. A Dinah is such, I replied. I knew I had done nothing wrong. I could not even guess what they would want with me. By orders of King Leon, you are to come with us. The one doing the speaking said. I nodded to them. I wondered what was going on and why. I had to leave with them. However, I was a Thornton, and I was not permitted to question the orders of those that were free. I looked to the conductor. He seemed to be very concerned and nodded his head. I moved with them. I followed the guards, or went with the guards, through the kingdom and to the king's castle. One followed them up to the king's throne, or his throne room. As we entered, I heeled head to the ground, as he was the king, and I was very confused. My heart was beating. I didn't know what I had done. Your Majesty, this is the last of the property of the Cumberland Mills. This is Dinah Patsy. I heard the guard that had spoken say. Heel girl, King Leno said, and I raised up. She is to be taken to a holding here in the castle. I will meet with her later. I heard the king say. I just had to know what I had done. Master, forgive it, Dinah. However, Master, please, may a Dinah speak? I asked him. I knew King Leon. He was a very kind and understanding man. He had never been cruel to me. No one had, really. Yes, Patsy, he said with a tone of sorrow. What has a Dinah done, Master? I asked. Patsy, you have done nothing. You do not know why you are here? He asked. It seemed shocked. No, master, I do not know what. Adina does not know what. I stumbled. Patsy, you have done nothing. James and Candace and their return party were attacked on the way back and were found with their life taken. The king said, if I had not been on my knees, I would have been. No, no, please no, I said and started to cry. Please no. I felt someone beside me and raised me to my feet. It had been the queen. She held me very close and I clung to her. I did not want to believe this. I truly could not believe what he had said. No, I will take care of her, I heard the queen say. Come on, child, she then said, and led me out and into a small room with a bed and a sink. She sat on the bed with me and held me as I cried. Then I felt her lay me down. I laid there and could not think. I felt empty and lost. And once again scared. What was going to happen? Why did the Lord do this to me? Why did he take my family away again? I thought of where Sandy and the others were. I had a void in my life, worse than the day my father sold my sister and I. The next morning I woke and sat up on bed. I looked around, how I wanted to be in a bad dream. I wanted to wake up and go down to the dining area and see James and Candace and all the others. However, I was in an empty, cold, dull room. The door opened and I stood to heal. Come with me, the man in the doorway said, and I raced to follow him. I moved through the castle and returned to the throne room where the court of the king was. I was before him on my knees, head to the floor once again. Rise, Patsy, he told me. I raised into a heel. James and Candace. Passover is in the morning. Do you wish to attend? He asked, very concerned. Yes, master, if I may. Or if Dinah may. I replied. I fought to hold back my tears. I am very regretful for your loss, Patsy. Tell what you know about Lord James and his courtesans, King Leon said, and I looked up. That they were like parents to Adina, and that Adina loved them both very much. I said, and lost the fight, and the tears started to fall. Did you know that after you finished the finishing classes, that Lord James was rewarding you with your freedom? He asked me. No, master. Adina did not, I replied. I was surprised to have heard what the king had said. Lord James was well known for his assistants and young Thorntons. He would purchase the young ones and assist them in their education. If lily branded, he would see they learnt to be able to live free. And if they were rose branded, he would find them respectful owners or just keep them at his estate. However, the lily, as you are, he always freed. You were a very lucky young girl and a most talented one. He told me. Thanks to master, I replied. I healed there, not really caring that James would have freed me. I would serve him until my last breath. I missed him and Candace. I healed there and cried. You will remain here for a week following the passing. Then I will present you with your materials, the king had said. Yes, master, I said, crying. I moved back to the room. I laid across the bed. I could not keep from wondering what the king meant by materials, and as a Thornton, I could not truly question. I wondered if I were to be sold, now that James and Candace's life had been taken. I laid wondering what my new owners would be like, and if I would be allowed to continue in my classes. I had 5 years to go still. I felt happy, some knowing one day I could have been free to find my sister, and to travel to Trey and ask my father just why he did this to me, why he did this to my sister. I was hoping I could find information on Jolene. However, I really knew not how to start. I laid there and soon I had cried myself to sleep. The next morning I dressed and moved with the king and the queen and 2 of his sons to the area of the passing. The crates were closed. I looked about all the people. I could not find any I knew. Who are you looking for? The queen asked. The others, mistress. That were at Cumberland with Adina. Where are they? If Adina might ask, I asked. I am not sure. You were the only one that was to be given to the king to free. Regretful, I cannot assist in that, she told me. I nodded and listened to everyone that spoke. I felt a heavy burden on my chest, and I really wanted to run and hide somewhere. First my sister, and now those I was as close to as sisters, all taken from me. I had to wonder again what my new owners would be like. I totally missed what the king and queen had said. I was too hurt and lost to even pay attention. That I would be free. That it was James's wish. I could not even imagine what being free even was. Chapter 7. As the week spent at King's Castle, I really did nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. I remained in that one cell, was fed 3 times a day. I assumed I was being held for my new owners to collect. I would sit there day after day and think of James and Candace and the others and my sister Jolene, my father, and what he had done that started this nightmare. I wondered what I did to Odin to make him put me through all of this, why he took my family away and then took my new family away. The days seemed to drag by. I was so glad to see the guard come into the cell and not a serving Dinah. Please accompany me, the guard said, and I stood to follow him back to the throne room of the king. When we entered, I heeled my head to the floor. Rise, Patsy, King Leon said. I raised to a heel and looked up to him. I watched as he stood and moved closer to me. Patsy, please stand, King Leon said very kindly. I stood in shock as he took a small key and unlocked my collar, holding it out to me. Would you like to keep this? He asked. I blinked and looked to the collar. I took it as it was offered. Keep it, master? I could not help yet ask. As I took it, standing there holding the collar that was around my neck, now in my hand. He walked from me and back to his desk. Lady Patsy Lee Sanders, you are from this day, which is the 18th day, 6th month of the first year's cycle, the 16th millennium, second term of our high priest, Louis Emmett Humberg, 9th century, year of 58. Award your freedom. Your pardonship of the brand is hereby given by your owner, Lord James Milston. You are hereby given full citizenship within the kingdom of Atlantis. I watched him nod, and I was handed a small package by a guard. I was further in shock, and now holding my collar and a package. I looked to the king speechless. I was not sure as to what to say, or even how to feel. I was not even sure as what to do. I was free. This had to be a dream. Any moment now, I knew I would awake and be presented to a new owner. The package you hold contains your pardonship card, your identification card, your key card to your suit at the Atlantis Lodge, and your currency account, which contains the amount value of 55 diamonds. Your belongings have been taken to your residence. When you are ready to leave, you may. He then said, and still I stood there with a blank spot, just wondering when I was going to wake up. Dinah is free. I am free, I said slowly, as if I was not speaking. Yes, Lady Patsy, you are free. Also, I believe you know Tony Kramer, he's asked. Yes, Master, Your Majesty, I replied. Good. Tony has requested you to come to see him. He has an offer of employment for you if you so wish. Tony owns the Southern Tavern on the south block of the Kingdom Square. He explained to me, and I smiled. Thank you, Your Majesty. Would you be offended if I hugged you? I asked. He smiled and stood, moving over to me. I handed the collar and the package to the guard beside me. He kindly took it. Not at all, King Leon said, and I placed my arms about him and hugged him tight. Thank you again, I said. You are most welcome. However, does this mean I'll lose the circle gathering entertainment? He said with a slight laugh, and I looked to him. No, Your Majesty, I would be honored, I replied. Then I shall not look for another, he said. I left the king's castle with a guard, and to the Atlantis Lodge. Stepping inside, I followed the guard to a door, 18. I pushed the card into the slot, and the lock opened, and I opened the door. I expected an empty room, with crates of my belongings. However, that is not what I discovered. I moved into a large sitting room, beautifully furnished. To the right was a kitchen. A counter separated the two rooms. In the kitchen was a small round dining table. The cupboards were full. The icebox was full. I moved around looking at the suit. Left of the sitting room was four other doors. The first one, when I opened it, I started to cry. It was a music room. All my music books and things were there. And in place. I walked into the room and looked around. I saw a glass case with a black and gold guitar in it. I opened it up and removed the guitar and turned it over. I moved to my knees and cried as I read what was engraved. Given with love, James and Candace Millstone. Remember, always we love you. I started to cry even harder. That is when I realized the king's guard was still there. My lady, are you all right? Is there anything I can do for you? He asked, very concerned, and I turned holding the guitar and looking to him. No, master, I mean, sir. No, sir, I am fine. Thank you, I said with a smile. If there is nothing more, I shall take my leave, my lady. He told me. Yes, sir. Thank you again, I replied, and he moved back a few paces, then turned and left. I heard the door close. I held tight for a while to that guitar. I would forever cherish it. After a few moments, I was able to collect my thoughts and myself and move through the rest of the suite. I found a bath area, a chambers, and a study, and everything was so beautiful. It seemed my master made sure I wanted and needed not a single thing. I once was told that once your loved ones pass or venture to Asgard, that they can see and hear all you say and do. I moved out of my apartment to the lodging garden. It was late, and no one was about besides me. I moved out of the way some in case any would enter, and to my knees I went. Thank you very much, my master, my mistress. I will strive very hard to make you proud of me, just as I always have. I kissed my hand and blew the kiss into the direction of Odin's mountain. As my heart was breaking, I knew I had to make them proud. I had to maintain my freedom that my master had given me. I could never repay him for all he had done. However, I could make him proud, and I knew he would be watching me. I could not disappoint him, not even in death. The next day I went to the Southern Tavern where Tony had requested, as the king has said. As I walked in, a man came up to me. Greetings, milady. We are at this moment not open. Please come back, he told me, and I smiled to him. I am here to see Tony Kramer. This is at his request, I told him. Yes, my lady. Who do I say is here? He then asked. Just tell him it is Dinah Patsy, I said, and he looked to me strangely. I watched his eyes go first to my neck and then to my left wrist, then to my left ankle. I laughed. No, I am free. However, just tell him. He will understand and know who I am, I told him. Yes, forgive me, my lady. With that, he turned, and I moved looking about the tavern. There was a large bandstand to the left end of the tavern, and a bar right ahead, and then a dance floor and several tables, one table in the back beside the bandstand, or the stage. I was looking about when Tony came up to me. Patsy, he called, and I turned to him. He took me by the hands and pulled me into a hug and kissing me on the lips. I returned his kiss. I felt very strange, dressed as I was in free attire and without a collar, standing there free before him. I fought the strong urge to heal. I smiled to him. Greetings, Tony, I said. It is so good to see you. I was wondering if you were going to come as I asked. Come, have a seat. Want a drink? He asked, guiding me to the table, and we sat. Just soda, I told him, and he snapped his fingers, and a girl hurried over with what I had asked for. How are you? He asked, concerned. I smiled. Feeling a lump in my throat. I am good. I have the most wonderful master any could have asked for. I will make him proud, I told Tony. He was very proud of you. He held you the highest of all his girls, as I do as well. That is why I made the offer to the king to tell you. I am in need of a singer. Pays 12 gold a week, 1 through 6 days a week, 5 to 9. How about it, Patsy Lee? Will you come and sing for me? He said with a laugh. Patsy Lee, you making fun of me, or you find that was my name? I asked with a smile. No, I am not making fun of you, and yes, I found out that was your name. It has a catchy catch to it. Do you not think? He asked. I sat there and thought about it, and smiled. Yes, it does. Patsy Lee, it shall be, I replied. Patsy Lee, the Southern Tavern Singer, and the Southern Band is at your beck and call. I have already warned them. He smiled. Thank you. I looked around more, then back to Tony. Sandy, Tammy, Patty, Lorene, Susie, what of them? I asked, hoping he knew. His face fell and he sighed. I do not know. After the report was given, the high priest froze the estate. You were at the dorm. They would tell me nothing, as they could not. After I heard the king had you, I went to speak with him. James had an alternative for all the girls. I am not sure where the others are, however, he told me. I always thought Sandy would go to you, I told him. He laughed. As much as I would have loved that, James would have nothing of it. However, I did care a lot for her. He laughed. When do I start? I asked. Well, I know you still have classes to attend, so when do you feel you will be able to? He asked. The 1st of next week, I asked him. Very well. I will be looking for you. Patsy, if you need anything at all, let me help. James did a lot for me and my family. Now I can repay him in some ways by assisting you, he said. I smiled. Thank you. I left the tavern, and my second destination was the finishing center. I moved into the administration office and into the coordinator's office. He stood as I entered. Patsy, it is good to see you. My lady, how are you? He asked. I am good. I was concerned about my lessons and my classes. Am I going to be able to continue them? I asked. Of course. However, I do want you to take the rest of the year to relax. You will not be held accountable for days missed and start fresh in your 6th year. He told me, and I smiled. Thank you, I replied. The tuition, I asked, as I knew James paid for me to attend. That has been taken care of already, he informed me. I looked at him strangely. I knew James paid it yearly. He gave me the voucher each year. My master paid it in full? I asked. No, James did not pay it in full. However, it has been taken care of. I am not to say, my lady, the conductor said, and I had to wonder who was paying the fees. I am not to be told, I questioned. Please, my lady, just accept that it is paid in full, he told me, and I suppose the thwarting training took out, for I just shook it off and smiled gratefully. I moved back to my suite, or apartment, and into the music room. I used that following week to relax some and get accustomed to my new status. I still awaited to wake up from a dream. However, this was no dream. This was a reality. Lord, I was so sad and happy, all at the same time. Okay. Chapter 8. I spent the next week relaxing and gathering and getting accustomed to being free. Not sure how I was handling this. There were nights I would wake and look for Sandy or the others. I was in a hole dealing with it. It was the following of the first day of the next week time to go to the tavern. I was nervous and excited. Was not sure how the people would accept me. This was not like being at Cumberland or the King's Castle. These were people that came and went randomly. I was so unsure about myself. When I walked into the tavern, it was 3 passing. I looked around, and the man from the time before came up to me. "Greetings, Lady Patsy. I am Brian. We were not actually introduced the last time we met," he said, and I smiled to him. "No, we were not," I replied. Then Tony came up to us and placed his hand out to me. "Come, my Patsy Lee, and meet the staff," he said, all charming, and I laughed, moving along with him. He took me to a table where 4 men and 2 women were sitting. Then there were 3 others in platinum collars sealed by the side. Brian sat at the table, and Tony started to introduce them. "Patsy, meet Jim, Donald. They are the guards of the tavern, more so called the coolers. They, along with Brian, take care of any trouble that might come up. Jonathan is our bartender. Kevin is our cook. Lisa and Jane are servers. And the 3 little darlings there are Tina, Dee, and Sue." He was saying, then 5 others came up, 3 men and 2 women. "There the lot of you are. Patsy, meet your band. Douglas is your drummer. Jack is your guitarist. Bobby is your keyboardist. Teresa and Karen are your backup singers. Everyone, this is Patsy Lee," he said with a bow and a wave of his hand, and I laughed. "Greetings all," I replied. They all were very nice and welcomed me. Now for the time of operations. First through 3rd day, we open at 4 passing to 12 passing, or until I decide to close. Live music is scheduled from 4 to 9, or until you get tired of singing or entertaining, he said with a laugh to me. I laughed softly. 4th through 6th day, we open at 11 passing and close when I feel like closing, usually after the 3rd passing of the first sun. "Any questions?" he asked me. "Just one. Who works the sound booth?" I asked. "That, my dear Patsy Lee, would be yours truly." He smiled. "I did not know you knew music," I smiled. "Let's just say I did not always maintain this tavern, and not always am I here. However, for now I am," he said with a smile. "Right. Ask no questions, get no untruth." I quoted from one of my songs. "Said it as if you wrote it." He laughed, and I pushed on him. "You are truly hopeless at times," I said. I started to practice with the band. It seemed Tony told them all about me. They had even heard me sing from gatherings at Cumberland. I was surprised how they accepted me as their equal. People started entering around 5 passing, and I started my first song. I saw some dancing, and I was even more shocked to realize they liked me. I had a full year's cycle before classes started, and boredom was setting in. I really did not know what to do with myself. I was so used to working or studying, and I had neither to do. It had been the 4th day, and I knew the tavern was open. It was 12 passing. I walked in. The tavern was open. Not many were about. I moved to the bar. "Johnny, how about a soda?" I called to him. And he fixed it and slid it across the counter. And I missed it, and off the other side it went. I jumped up and grabbed a towel. Quickly, I started to clean it up. I became worried. Really do not understand what came over me. When Tony came around the corner and Johnny was getting a broom and dustpan. "Forgive me, please, master," I said when Tony came up. Tony," I said, corrected. He took me by the hand and raised me to my feet, snapped his fingers to Tina, and she hurried over, taking the towel and continuing to clean it up. I looked at Tony. "Patsy, calm down. You are free, and a broken glass is not the end of the millennium," he said, setting me down, and Johnny brought me another glass, handing it to me. "Patsy, forgive me. I should have warned you," he said. "'Tis all right. I really should have been able to catch it." I looked at Tony. "Forgive me for addressing you as a Thornton," I told him. He laughed. "I know it will take some getting used to. We all understand that. Patsy, you are fine," he said. "Besides, it is only 12 passing. What are you doing here?" he asked. "I am bored. I have nothing to do, as I have no studies. You can practice only so much, and I really have no work. My apartment is the most cleanest apartment on the Saltarn. I am certain of it." I laughed. He and Johnny laughed with me. "So that still does not explain why you are here," he laughed. I was wondering, "Will you let me serve in the afternoons just until classes start?" I asked him. "If that is what you want, you got it," he said. "Can I start today?" I asked. "As long as you do not break any more glasses," he said, teasing, and kissed me on the head, walking away. Johnny showed me where everything was and how to make a ticket, and I was set. I served until 4, then I started to sing. It was a routine that I would go on for about 2 months passing. I was actually enjoying serving at the tavern. It was around, I would say, 3 passing when a man came in. He seemed on his way to passing out. "Whiskey, make it quick," he called out. I really did not believe he needed another drink. Just the same, I did not argue, and I went and fixed what he wanted. I took it to his table and set it down. He grabbed my arm and swung me onto his lap. "Greetings, darling," he said, and I moved to get up off his lap. As I did, his hand wandered up my skirt, and the brand was seen. "Set back down, little Dinah," he told me, holding onto my wrist. "I am not a Dinah, sir. Now release your hold," I told him. I had not noticed that Brian and Jonathan were paying very close attention to me and our unruly guest. "Come now. I know not a single free woman that obtains a brand," he told me. I jerked my arm from him. "Now you do. And Patsy Lee is the name," I told him. "Once a Dinah, always a Dinah. Come back to me. Let me remind you of your place, and raise that need you will soon then see I tell the truth," he said, trying to get a hold of me again, and I moved away from his reach. Out of the chair and onto the floor he fell, knocking the chair over with him. I then heard Tony clear his throat. I looked at him, and so did the guest that was now on the floor. He motioned me to him. I moved over to him. He then pointed to Johnny and Brian and then to the door. He then took a hold of my upper arm, and I found myself being led to the bar and onto a stool, and the guest found himself out onto the streets of Atlantis. I sat down looking to Tony. "What was that all about?" he asked me. He was drunk, pulled me onto his lap, saw the brand and wanted to raise the need, I said with a laugh and a smile. Trying to calm him down, as he was quite upset at this moment. "You all right?" he asked, very concerned. "Yes, sir, I am fine," I replied with an ensuring smile. "The next time someone comes in on their way, send them on their way," he told me. "Yes, sir," I replied. "Actually, there is not going to be a next time. From now on, I want you on that stage. If you're off it, it best be part of your performance," he said sternly, and I almost sunk back from him. I was surprised to hear him, and I liked being here. It kept me busy. "Tony, please forgive me. I will be more aware. I promise," I told him. "Patsy, that is not it. It is not you. It is those that come in here. You are safer on that stage. No one can raise that skirt of yours up and see that brand and then assume and be stupid," he said. "However, it keeps me busy," I protested. "I will never hear the end of it if you were to get harmed," he said. "Come on, Tony," I pleaded. "Fine, Patsy. You want to be here from open until close? Until glass is regained. Then you will do so on that stage. Now go sing me a song. That is what I pay you to do," he said sternly. I smirked at him and moved up on the stage and picked up my guitar, and as he said, started to sing. Tony became very protective over me. I couldn't understand why. It seemed once again I became off limits. Everyone that even acted as if they wanted to touch me got tossed out. Once one of the men tried to get on the stage, and Brian tossed him out. Once a gentleman pulled me into his lap as I was singing and kissed me. Tony himself threw him out. It was just too funny. After a while, any at the tavern was even afraid to dance with me. They were more worried about Tony having them tossed out. And once he tossed them out the third time, they were not permitted back in. And if it was over me, they only received one time of being tossed. I could not imagine what had come over him. After I started being there and singing, from open to close, then we had more business. Some just came to listen to me sing. They made me feel so good and so special. Soon I was known as Patsy Lee and the Southern Tavern Band, also Patsy Lee of the Southern Tavern. Classes started back up way too quick for me, and once again I was studying.